Hi everyone, welcome to Python Programming for Beginners. This tutorial is a beginner-friendly tutorial. That means even if you have very minimum or zero programming background, as long as you know how to use a PC and how to use web browser, you should have no problem follow through this tutorial. And this tutorial is interactive. You're going to write some code together. I always believe practice is the only way to really master a programming language. So get ready to get your hands dirty. Let's look at the structure of this tutorial. I'm going to cover the essentials of Python programming language, which includes the syntax, like the grammar of this language, data types, how to represent numbers and text and collections in Python, control flows, function modules, how to import modules and third-party libraries, and also how to handle input and output of data. So what you can achieve by the end of the tutorial. By the end of the tutorial, you should have a solid understanding of Python programming foundations, and you should be able to read and write some simple but meaningful and useful Python code to make your life or work easier. For example, you should be able to automate some of tedious routine tasks that you have to handle every day. Okay, let's talk about the language Python. So Python was created by Guido in the year of 1991. Okay, so to give you some idea about the age of the language, right? You compare to some other major language like C, C++, Visual Basic, Java. So C and C++ was created in 1970s, which is way older than Python. Then Visual Basic and Java also created in 1990s, which is more or less the same age as Python. Then there's this new programming language such as Swift, was much younger than Python. Okay, so the name Python is because Guido is a big fan of a comedy group Monty Python, so he named this programming language after that group. So that's why it's called Python. In current market and industry, there's two major versions of Python. One is Python 2 and the other one is Python 3. So at this point of time, Python 2 is no longer supported. So only the legacy projects are using Python 2 and they should really be migrated to Python 3 sooner or later. So in this tutorial, I'm going to be using the latest version Python 3 to introduce the language. Python is a general purpose programming language. So we basically have two categories of programming language. One is called general purpose, one is called domain specific. So domain specific language is a language which is designed for solving problems in a specific domain. For example, in order to interact or manage a database, we have this language called SQL or SQL, which is for like solving specific database problems. And another example is like R, which is a programming language specifically for solving problems in mathematics and statistics. On the other hand, language like Python, C++, Java, they are general purpose. They are not designed for a specific domain. Rather, they can be used for like almost everything, like a lot of things. For example, you can use it to do a website. You can use it to do computer games. You can use it to do to program robotics. You can use it to do machine learning. So a lot of things. That's what we call general purpose programming language, and Python is one of them. And also Python is cross-platform, means you can use it on your Windows, you can use it on your Mac, you can use it on your Linux. That's all no problem. But why we use Python? Why people love Python? Python is easy and intuitive to learn. So in a lot of universities nowadays, they use Python as a first language to introduce their fresh year students to learn about programming. So it's relatively easy to learn and the learning curve is quite flat. Python is also open source, means everybody can read the code of Python and also contribute to the Python language itself. Every year there's a lot of like conference like to people gather together to discuss about this language and to discuss what has changed we can make to this language. So everybody can theoretically make change to this language. So Python syntax is very easy. It's almost as easy as plain English. So even if even you have no idea how Python works now, if I show you a Python code, you can more or less guess what it's trying to do. Python is suitable for everyday tasks, right? So you can learn it, and in 2 days' time, and you can go back to your office and probably can find out something you can use Python to, some problems you can use Python to solve. And most importantly, Python is free, right? You don't need to pay money to use Python, and it's free for commercial use as well. So that means if you create a software using Python and you sell that software making money, and that's totally okay. So you don't need to pay anything to Python. So who is using Python? So Python is one of the major language. So if you look at all some of the big names using Python, they include YouTube, Facebook, Dropbox, NASA. So all the big names, they are using Python. And also this also can show you that Python is a general purpose language. So all the big names, for example, NASA is a scientific research institution, and there's those Facebook and Instagram. These are the social media. There's IBM, technology firm, and there's Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan. So those are the financial firms. So this is also proof that Python is a general purpose programming language. So what can we do using Python? I would say almost everything, right? You can use it to do automation of your daily tasks, like downloading stuff from internet, automatically moving files from one folder to another. So it can also be used to do data science and machine learning. And this is one of the big reasons why Python got so popular these years. So if you want to do some image recognition, natural language processing, big data, so you cannot really avoid Python. Python can also be used to do graphical user interface or GUI. Right? You can use it to build a desktop application. It can be used to do games. It can be used to do websites, so a lot of things. And another thing I want to highlight is second last item, glue language. What do we mean by glue language? So Python can talk to other programming language. This is a very important feature. So imagine you have a problem and you want to solve it, right? Part of the solution is implemented in C language, and the other part of the solution is implemented in Java. But it's not so easy to let C and Java talk to each other. However, Python can talk to both C and Java. So how we're going to solve it is we're going to let Python pass the data to C, and C program will solve part of the problem, passing the result to Python, and Python can pass in the data to Java, and Java can continue solve it and passing the result to Python, and Python can do further manipulation or consolidation and to get the final result. So Python is functioning as a glue that puts the C program and Java program at work together. Python is so nice. It seems like Python can do everything. Is Python the solution for all your problem? The answer is no, right? The number one biggest reason is the speed. So Python is not as fast as C++ or Java. So that means if you want to do something which requires a very fast calculation speed, you shouldn't really using Python. Let's think about an example. For example, high frequency trading, right? In high frequency trading, every nanoseconds matters. So in this case, you want your program, your logic to execute as fast as possible. So you shouldn't really use Python if you are a high frequency trader. Talk is cheap, show me your code. So starting from next lesson, we're going to get our hands dirty and write some code together. So that's all for today. It's a basic introduction of Python programming language. Please subscribe my channel. If you have any questions, you can post it in the comments. I'm going to answer you as soon as possible. Thank you very much. See you later.